The Derbyshire was built on Teesside and the Havington Hill Yard in Newcastle. They were a new concept in shipping. So what they did, they took the design of a bulk carrier, the design of a tanker, and they put them together and they extrapolated it, made it bigger. These ships were huge. She was classified as A1, she was insured, and she was owned by Bibbies. So all in all, she was a British ship through and through. Yes, Peter, he left school when he was 16. We don't know why he joined the Merchant Navy. No one in the family has ever been away to sea. And he loved it. On the morning he was going, you know, that was the last time we ever saw Peter.
The last message from the Derbyshire was received on the 9th of September.
The Derbyshire was nearing the end of a 4-month voyage to Kawasaki when it went down with all hands during a typhoon.
At one point, waves were reaching 100 feet every 10 minutes.
Derbyshire went to September Island, Canada. She left there on her way to Japan. But as the Derbyshire was going on her route, all of a sudden this typhoon was on top of her. Totaling 36 hours, that ship would have been battered by these waves. There was no survivors. 44 people, 42 well-trained and experienced crew, and 2 wives. She was, and still is, the biggest British registered ship this country's ever lost.
There were 17 families involved with the Derbyshire in Liverpool. We got to know each other very, very well. We became very, very close to each other. And of course, at the memorial service, we would meet and go have a cup of tea afterwards. And there, we formed what became known as the Derbyshire Family Association. We were concerned that we were being kept in the dark as to what had actually happened to the Derbyshire. There was nothing forthcoming. And then one of the sister ships called the Kowloon Bridge went down in Bantry Bay in Ireland. And that put forward this idea that there should be a general inquiry.
At last, we thought we're going to get an inquiry. We're going to see and we're going to learn what happened to our loved ones. That's all we want. It was a complete whitewash.
We were not happy with the findings of the inquiries. They didn't seem to take an awful lot of note of the families itself. And at the findings, when the findings came out that it was an act of God, really, that's what they were saying.
Dave Ramble was asked what he thought about it, being the captain. He said Derbyshire sank twice, once in the South China Sea and once in the Sea of Whitewash. I wrote a letter to the families telling them Derbyshire families has to change and become a campaigning group. Do you all agree with this? And they came back and they said, yes, we agree. We'll go for a full reopening. I wanted it because I'd promised my mother in 1980 that I would find out what happened to the Derbyshire, why Peter died. When asking what new evidence they would accept the government, they said, any evidence from the Derbyshire, in other words, go and find her. How was a group of families going to find the ship? Surely, if you could have found the Derbyshire, they would have found it. We
asked the Seafarers Unions and the ITF, the International Transport Workers Federation. They said they would put up the necessary funds for this company to go back and find the ship.
And on June the 8th, 1994, they'd found the ship. She was in 1,000 pieces. So the report came out. We were offered the chance to have a small inquiry, just based on the assessor's report, and the blame would be shared equally amongst everybody. And I went round to the families. I showed them, and every one of them said, we're going for a full inquiry. John Prescott became Deputy Prime Minister, Secretary of State of Transport. He called the first inquiry whitewash, and he said he wanted to see reports calling for a reopened formal investigation. He needed to see there was problems with the assessor's report. Anyway, John Prescott came back. So I'm just, in the next half hour, going to make an announcement to the press. I'm ordering a full reopening investigation into the cause of the loss of the Emily Derbyshire. 19 years work, 19 years commitment, 19 years of pain and giving up so much. And John Prescott had just made all that worthwhile. The judge's report, and people can get a copy of it, completely exonerated the crew. A gang of nobodies, just people who care. We'd proved so many people wrong. He asked for a list of recommendations about ship safety. That was something that was very, very important to us. 22 recommendations came out of that court that would make bulk carrier and shipping a lot safer.
Thousands of lives would be saved, and all over the world. And that mothers and fathers and wives and husbands could go to bed at night knowing that the campaign they were involved with is saving and will continue to save lives as long as there are ships at sea.